Hi everyone, I'm Matt DeFanis, broker owner of Remax Realty Associates, and today I'm coming to you from a brand new listing located at 1191 County Road 800 East. That is in rural Champaign. And I'm getting on camera to talk to you about it because it's a special house that is part of a special story that also intersects with my own childhood growing up in rural Champaign. So stay tuned to learn a little bit more about the story behind this house and neighborhood. So the story of this house and the others that are around it. So I grew up in a rural subdivision called Rolling Acres, exactly 2 miles from where I am standing. When I was a young child, a local lady by the name of Wanda Bengoshe, who actually at the time lived a little over a mile south of where I grew up, was acquiring historic farmhouses. So here in Illinois, where agriculture is our biggest industry, over the generations, it takes fewer and fewer farmers to farm more and more acres. And as a result, you have a lot of these historic family farmsteads, these historic houses that no longer were occupied or in use because they had become part of a bygone era where the farmland surrounding them had been sold off and was part of a large commercial farming operation. So this lady, Wanda Bengoshe, was acquiring these houses, and she was paying very, very little for the acquisition cost because the houses were in terrible disrepair and had essentially no value where they were sitting. But the acquisition was just the tip of the iceberg for her. So she would acquire these houses and then she would move them. And these houses were located all over rural Champaign County. And it was the moving of them that was the big challenge. So not only did you have all of the logistics of jacking these houses up, lifting them off of their original foundation, putting them onto the apparatus to actually be able to pull them for many miles to get them to their new locations. But in addition to all of that, you had other major logistical concerns like having to coordinate the shutdown of, there's a crop duster going by right in front of me. But they also had to coordinate the shutdown of railroad crossings and the temporary removal by the utility company of power lines because you had these massive Victorian houses in one piece being moved across railroad crossings and over overpasses and in places where the power lines would have otherwise been in the way. So it was a massive undertaking. The News Gazette has a mailbag feature, and they get asked periodically about these houses and have reprinted the same little bit of history. And I quote that in my listing. But she was buying these one at a time, spending a ton of money to get them moved, putting them on brand new foundations. So again, these were late 1980s era. So this one that I just listed is on a 9-foot poured concrete basement foundation. And then all new wiring and plumbing and mechanicals as of that time. And most of them also got new windows at that time. And many of them have had windows replaced since then because that's been a number of years. But for me, because I grew up in this area, in a nearby rural subdivision, Wanda's son Tyler, he and I were on the same school bus route. We were one grade apart growing up in school together. And I babysat for at least 3 different families, that lived in these houses. So I've spent many, many, many hours in these homes. I babysat for 2 full summers full time. For a household, and I just sold that house a few months ago. So this is at least the third of the houses out here that I've had the opportunity to sell. But as I say, they actually really mean something to me because I have spent so much time out here and I got to watch them get moved here when I was a child and was growing up in Rolling Acres. So now you know the rest of the story. I don't know the story of this particular house's first life. But now you know the story of how it and its neighbors got here and why you have the opportunity to purchase a 100-year-old authentic vintage farmhouse conveniently located a mile away from the I-57 Curtis Road interchange. So I hope you'll check out the 3D tour and some of the rest of the materials on this one. And of course, let me know if you have any questions.